We were quite far into the kind of mixing, producing process when it came to actually wanting to put anything, like any proper production on Dr. Watt. And when we were listening to the album that we already had, we felt like the song Dr. Watt didn't really fit with what we had already kind of come up with. And so we either had the option of trying to kind of mess around with it and try and just kind of like force it onto the album, or just to kind of wait, leave it. And we probably will release it at some point and kind of do something with it that will make it just kind of good enough on its own in a way that we think that the song deserves, but just kind of not put it on this album, basically.
There were a lot of songs like Dr. Watt that didn't make it onto the album, and we're not ruling out using some, if not all of them, in the future.
Yes. Hi, I'm from Germany. Excuse my English, please. Who sang the female part in Everything's Ending? Was it me?
You say female, that was actually Liam.
You were doing falsetto. No, well, actually, I can hit those notes, but it wasn't me.
It was a girl called Briley, who we know who is a singer.
Oh,
Yeah. What's your favourite song off the album and why?
We had this question yesterday, and I'm no more prepared for it now.
Yeah. I answered it by saying I don't know if I have a favourite song, but I have a favourite moment, which is the bit at the end of Travelling Man with all the a cappella voices. I really like that bit. I've listened to Teenage Rebel more than any of the other songs.
I feel like Teenage Rebel is the one that I could play over and over again and just put it in a playlist of other songs.
Yeah, yesterday,
I love all of the albums. So.
Yeah, yesterday for all of us was the first time that we heard the album all the way through. So I feel like I still haven't had enough of an opportunity to listen to the album to be able to decide what my favourite song is just yet.
You know the bit where you talk about fish custard and you just have a little bit of your video? Is that actually going to be in the song, or is it just...
Yes, that's actually going to be in the song. For real, yep.
There's a question over there.
Liam, it's not related to the actual album, but in your last video you had goggles on.
I did.
Where did you get them from?
I have them with me today, actually. I got them from a site called Etsy. There's lots of great handmade stuff there and things like that. If you just look up goggles, you'll find them.
Thanks.
It's alright?
Yeah. How was France?
I told you this would come up.
It was good. I had to stay there a little longer than I wanted to. It's fine.
I feel like there were two phases to France. There was the Michael gets a free holiday out Chameleon circuit, and the recording process.
Yeah,
and for me, the recording process was really fun.
I was there for 2 months. The first month, I didn't have any of my equipment down with me, aside from my laptop. I didn't have these guys down there with me, so no work happened on Chameleon circuit during that month. And so it was kind of like a vacation for me, or holiday. But for the second month, that month progressively got more intense. The closer it got to my return date to the UK, the less I was sleeping. And up until last night, it had been weeks since I actually got 8 hours of sleep in solid. So it was a pretty intense recording period in France towards the end of it.
Yeah. Actually, when you think about it, you get a free holiday out of Chameleon circuit, and then eventually Chameleon circuit gets a free holiday out of you.
What?
Just something you said, or Ed said earlier. It's like, well, you came, like, there was the trip to Paris at the beginning.
Oh, so you guys got a free trip to Paris.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do have to thank Red Bull for that.
Any more questions? Yeah.
The bit with it had the kind of instrumental from Big Bang 2. Is that going to still be in there, or is that just a placeholder?
That track is called 11.
Okay.
It's just an instrumental thing that I believe Big Bang 2 happens, and then that happens, and then the album continues on.
Otherwise it would just go Big Bang 2, The Sound of Drums, which
We kind of felt like there had to be
intense change.
something to get
Bridge
between
the
that.
gap.
Yeah. Yes.
What's your favourite episode of Doctor Who?
Ever? Like,
Yeah.
oh god.
I really like Midnight. From this season I like The Doctor's Wife quite a lot, but I think... Oh, and The 11th Hour actually is brilliant.
Anything that Adam Smith has ever directed, I really like.
He directs The 11th Hour.
Yeah, that's why. Segueing from that.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know, there's so many good episodes. I really like Blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta remember those ones.
Yeah.
I mean, like right now I'm still very... Mine. Right now I'm still very much kind of hypnotised by the Doctor's wife as well, and I think that's very much in the running for my favourite episode of all time. But I also have a favourite from each series, which I can't really think about right now. I'm thinking about an album.
Yeah,
over there.
In terms of the music, by whom were you most influenced when making the record?
Sorry?
In terms of the music, by whom were you most influenced when making the record?
Each song kind of found a different influence. I have no idea. Most of the time, a song, I think of music as being, or a song to me is a purely conceptual thing. Like, if you have, what's a popular song?
Poker Face.
Poker Face. Lady Gaga's song, Poker Face, that is on her album, to me is just one execution of that song. The song exists in actuality in a more esoteric space where it's just a set of like chords and notes. So you can play those in a certain way with a certain sound, and that's one execution of that song. So for each one, like Alex wrote Teenage Rebel, and so to me I was just like, this is chords and notes that don't have sound yet. And so I would sit down and just start throwing things at the wall to see what would stick, and eventually it would start to take shape, and I'd be like, oh, this kind of sounds like this band, or this sounds like this song that I've heard. I'll go listen to that for inspiration, and it just would evolve from there. I don't know if that made any sense, but
Yeah. I have specific inspirations that are more like song to song instead of whole bands or whatever. Like, I wanted Everything Is Ending to be like the duet from Dr. Horrible. And it's not as good as the duet from Dr. Horrible, but I sort of achieved that goal of making like a duet song. Travelling Man, I wrote Travelling Man and then Charlie sung it. And Travelling Man, there's a song by Krista Berg called A Spaceman Came Travelling, which is all eerie and it's really cool, so I wanted to write that. For Teenage Rebel, it was just you said you wanted something with a cool time signature that was a bit different and strange.
yeah, there were a couple times where I wanted to do things that were a little bit weird in that you don't normally find things like that in pop music. So I specifically asked Alex to write a song that had weird time signatures in it, which is what came out, or what birthed Teenage Rebel. And then there was another one where I specifically said, I want you to write a song that has an augmented chord in it. And that was
Silence at the End of All Things.
Silence at the End of All Things.
Thank you very much.
Who do you reckon River Song is?
I've made my feelings on this clear. I want it to be Russell. Beyond that, I don't really know.
I just like to take River Song's advice about spoilers on board and not really anticipate too much before the episode airs. So I'm looking forward to finding out this evening.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I worked a little bit on Doctor Who Confidential, and as a result, this series has kind of been like I've known a lot of stuff about the series before I watched any of the episodes, and yeah, I already know who she is. So there's that. But you know, by the end of today, all of you will know as well. So
it's better for you to admit it than just lie.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite Doctor Who companion?
Donna.
Yeah, Donna.
Amy.
I mean, with the last series, I thought it was Rory, but I haven't liked him as much this series, just because of, like when after he's died about 3 or 4 times, I feel like the first time he died, I was like, oh no, Rory, but now I just kind of don't feel anything when he dies, and that's not the kind of thing you want to have. That's not the relationship you want to have with a character. When they die, you want to actually feel something for them. But,
It's like
yeah.
Kenny in another
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.